What's up, y'all? Early in the AM, early in the AM. I didn't make enough coffee. What we got? Oh shit, I'm late. Oh, it's still 5. Well, it's 6 o'clock. Shit, I'm an hour late. Um, in my rising. Oh shit. Listen. Um, I remember when I was young, and I remember my uncle, my father's brother, who who the family said, he have a psychological problem. He had a mental thing going on because of his injury in Vietnam. You see, he had these plates in his head. You see, and so they said that he was off his mark a little bit. You see, but I remember this one day he came up. You see, to see his brother. He had to pass his sister house first, so they probably went there. Going up the hill a little bit, because we live around the corner from my auntie, my father's sister. We, uh, he walked up to the house, and my mother was sitting on the patio, and I heard her say, "Oh shit, oh shit," and she ran to the front door. I'm assuming. No, hold on. She said, "Oh shit," and she ran to the front door. They told Nico, and I don't know, probably Tom is out there. Y'all bring your eyes in this house right now. Hurry up. Hurry up. Bring your eyes in the house. Hurry up. You see, she didn't want to be bothered with my father's ill brother. You see, we call him Little Son. That was his name, Little Son. You see, we called him Little Son. And I remember running up the stairs, the stairwell in our apartment there. This is in Cincinnati. And looking out the window, watching him walk back down the hill. I remember my father taking me or driving us somewhere, and he said, "That's where my brother live at. That's where your uncle live at. See that apartment right there? You know." I still remember the apartment. You see, I mean, it's in my head. I mean, it's like, I mean, everything. You see, I remember watching him go back down the hill from my mother's window. Her window shows the back of the apartment. You see, I mean, he was just knocking and knocking and knocking. And as a young man, as a child, basically, I felt sad. You see, I felt sad. I never knew, I mean, like, why? You see, we were too young for them to explain to us. They just said he was crazy or he was ill in the mind because of a certain situation that he had. You see? And so when Mama felt that the coast was clear, you know, she said we can go on back outside, but don't go too far from the house, because she was about to start cooking. You see, and I ran all the way down by my auntie's house, but on the backside, and I went all the way kind of like down the hill, and by the hill, so I could see the broad of it. You see, because the street that comes to the community, it has a dip like this, and then it goes around, and so I I caught him at the dip, you see, and I said, little son, little son. Then I ran down the hill and then I kind of flipped a little bit. I mean, tripped. And as I was tripping, I was flipping, some forward and shit, then I rose back up and kept running again. And I was trying to give him a little hug and things. He pushed me off and did me like this, like, shake my hand, nigga, don't hug me. You know what I'm saying? You see, that type shit. You see? And I said, he said, where your mom and daddy at, boy? She said, oh, they had to help somebody down the street move some furniture. They'll be right back. He said, oh, okay. He said, when they leave? You didn't see them? They left a few minutes ago before you came. Something like that. I said, shit, I don't know. I was a kid. But anyway, he said, oh, okay. He said, well, I got a long walk, Junior. He said, I love you, boy. You take care of your parents, okay? And I said, all right. And look, he said, no, I said to him, I said, I can walk you right there to the mailbox. You see? And he said, oh, okay, come on. Like that. And I started walking. And then I started telling him, he said, what you want to be when you grow up? I said, I'm gonna be a boxer. Like Muhammad Ali. He said, oh, okay, that's good. He said, I used to box. And I said, oh, for real, you did? He was like, yeah, I used to box. I used to box in the military, in the army. I used to box. I was like, oh, man. He said, cool. And he said, when we get up to the mailbox, he said, let me see your feet. He said, act like you about to box somebody. How you going to stand? And then, I'm standing the way, mama taught me how to do it. Daddy, I don't know where my father was at. He was there, but he wasn't there. You see, mama taught me how to do it, You know what I'm saying? I'm showing him what mama taught me how to do. You see? But shit, Uncle said, no, you put that left foot forward. He said, you right hand, put that left foot forward. He said, now I want you to brace and sit on that back leg. I want you to brace, sit on that back leg and move it around. Keep that front feet pivot. Keep it pivoting. You see how I'm moving? He said, you do that. You see, people across the street in the apartments. I had a little girlfriend. Her name was JoJo. I was hella young and shit, talking about girlfriends and shit. But I did. She was right over there. She lived right over there across the way. You see what I'm saying? I was hoping that she was out there so she could see that her little boyfriend and shit is being told how to fight. But anyway, he was telling me how to pivot and all that thing. He said, put your hands up, put your dukes up, and I guess my hands was like this. You know how you be seeing people ball their fists and it looks like this and shit. He said, put that. He said, who taught you how to ball your fists like that, Junior? Luke Junior? He said, Luke Junior. Who taught you how to ball your fists? I said, Mama. He said, boy, no. You square them up. He said, it's a hammer. You square them up. You see, that's what he said. When you ball your fist, you make sure it's square. You see, you make sure it's square. If you don't knock them out, you'll crack their face. That's what my uncle said, you see. And I said, oh, okay. You see? And he said, let me see you jab. He said, jab. Let me see you jab. He said, a jab is on your left side. You see, and you make sure that feet is in position when you jab. You see, he was talking to me. But during that little duration of time that we had, that little time at the mailbox that we had, I ain't never forget it. Never. I ain't never forget when my uncle showed me. You see, never forget that shit. Just imagine if I had that in my own house. You see, listen, I can't blame, listen, I don't blame my mother or blame my father. I'm not doing it. I'm just saying, what if I had that in my own house? You see, growing up, you see, the very man who could have taught me certain things in my life, he was rejected. You see, so the same body or the same psychology, whatever they had of my uncle, is the same damn thing they got of me today. Oh man, that shit, man. When I checked out those motherfucking algorithms, man, and then studied that shit. That shit crushed me. I mean, listen, look, you got his siblings, and then you have his siblings, and then you have the next generation. You see, it's the same thing. It's the same body. You see, have you ever yearned for people to ask you something about your world instead of regurgitating off of other people telling them about your world? You know what I'm saying? Because they don't see what they call fruit. You see, they don't see what they call fruit. And no one understands the concept of natural fruit that produce seeds and GMO fruit that don't produce seeds. Both of them are fruit, though. Which one are you talking about? Because you see a lot of people that have, you see, and they produce fruit, good fruit. But for some reason, there's no seeds. So when something happens, they can't get back up. They can't grow. They don't have nothing to, there's no nucleus around. You see, there's nothing to put in soil, but they have fruit. What I'm saying is that very thing that my uncle gave to me. I mean, I'm literally looking at that now. The very thing that my uncle gave to me, I held it for life. I held that shit for life, man. You see, I held it for life. I just needed somebody to help me develop in what he told me. You see, that's all I needed was somebody to help me to develop in what they told me. By the time I say, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do it myself. I was smoking cigarettes and shit. You see, I didn't fell into the world. You see, so my shit was fruitful, but it didn't have no seeds. You see, it was fruitful, but it didn't have no seeds. You know, when I was doing martial arts, it was fruitful, but it didn't have no seeds. You see, I didn't have no seeds nowhere. You know, I had all the fruits, but none of them motherfuckers had seeds. You see? And that shit used to burn me up. Why is this motherfucker doing the same thing I'm doing, but he's prospering, but I'm not? That shit took me all the way from a youth, all the way to California, back here east to Louisville, in the motherfucking projects when I lost everything, in the motherfucking projects for me to figure this out. And when I got by my motherfucking self, I had to figure all this shit out by my motherfucking self. And here I am. And no one would ever ask me a question about certain things, you see? Or not try to test me or taunt me with questions because they know that's what I'm looking for. People to ask me or people to act humane, you see, towards a motherfucker. You see? You understand? I mean, it's just amazing, man. It's amazing sometimes. And so I just keep living, man, because I'm seeing it. And it's like you would never, people got so many things inside of the next generation about certain people that came before them. And it's just horrible because it's not healthy things. It's not healthy things. You know, they look at these people's mistakes, but they don't look at what drove them into that. You see, and the hit that they may have had during that period of time. You see, no one talks about the crash. No one talks about the hit. No one talks about the injuries. No one talks about this. No one talks about the healing from that. No one talks about how they still standing. No one talks about how they still spiritual. They don't talk about these things. You see? So when they come to you, they don't ask you anything about you. They talk to you from a perspective of someone else. You see? And then they look at it, they say, oh, okay, they were telling the truth. But the people who told them that was looking at the person just like the other generation is looking at the person. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nobody going inside of the bloodline to see. You see, going in bloodline to see to where they're not afraid. They can just walk to this person or call this person or talk to this person as if they were real instead of like calling and then hanging up, changing the number, don't want the person to call because he's calling and all this other type of shit. And people find out that you're not getting contact. They be wondering why and shit. And it's like the person they ain't talking to me though. They talking to each other. And then the person who he probably trying to call, you see, they don't want to talk to him. You see, they don't want to talk to the person because of what somebody said or because he wasn't in their life and all these other type things. You see, and you sit up there like everything that you're going through, all you got to do is talk to that nigga. You see, talk to that nigga because he went through it. He went through it. You see, he went through it. You probably going through some shit, some trials and tribulations in your life, and you don't know why you're going through it. And you asking everybody but the source. Go to your Father in heaven, or go to your Father's mind and pick it. That's all you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Go listen. Listen. I'm not separating myself from humanity. I'm gonna speak these bodies. If I read something in a book, I'm reading something that was trying to train and teach wild men and women not to eat their own goddamn children and family members. I'm reading that book called the Bible. You see? You see what I'm saying? Shit. Because that's what they would have done if they didn't have these instructions, if they didn't have this book, if they didn't have certain things. You see? Or if the Moors wouldn't have been having sex with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know. Shit. It's living. They put that living water in them. Shit. That's why they like they are today. You see? Yeah.